So Storyline can actually integrate with Blackboard such that a student can complete your Storyline project that you've uploaded to Blackboard, and the grade that they receive on the project would actually go to the Blackboard gradebook. It does take a little bit of extra effort. You have to publish it in a specific way in Storyline, and then you have to upload it to Blackboard a specific way. But I'll show you how to do that, and so that you can see the Blackboard gradebook populated based on the quiz results. So the first thing you need is you need at least one quiz question, but you also need a result slide because the result slide is what tracks the quiz score and also what sends it to Blackboard. So to get a result slide, you would click on New Slide, and then it's probably this when this window comes up, it's probably on basic layouts, but you want to choose the quizzing option, and then from here choose Graded Result Slide, and then Insert. You'll see by default the questions should be included, but just in case, you'll just want to make sure that all the questions that you want included in these results have a checkbox there. And then you have a passing score. Now, there are a few options depending on how you import this into Blackboard and the settings you choose there. You could say if they pass this project, if they get an 80%, you want them to get full credit in Blackboard. And maybe your assignments were 10 points, so they would get 10 points. You may say instead, if they pass it at 80%, you only want them to get 8 points or 80% of 10. Those are two options. There's another option, which is to say that they could actually just get a check mark if they pass. And so that check mark would then only come if they get 80%. So there are a few options, but you would need a passing score, for any of them. So you just want to choose your passing score here. So you should click on options. There are some more options here. Like this mostly is just what's shown on the results slide, whether the user score, passing score, whether the user is allowed to review quiz or to retry quiz. So that's all up to you, but you would click OK. All right, so we have a results slide now. Now at this point, we need to publish the project. So I'm gonna, from the Home tab, click on Publish. Now the default is generally set to web, and this is fine if you're just outputting to any sort of web page. But if you're outputting to Blackboard, you want to choose LMS. And I'm going to say Blackboard gradebook example, and let's call this, let's see, 422. And in this folder, which is fine, I want to include HTML5 output. And then often this will be checked by default, and we don't actually want to use the Articulate mobile player for iOS or Android because this actually will get in the way of the Blackboard integration. So just including this HTML5 output is going to allow our students to use an iPad or Android tablet. So that's enough right there. So output options, we want to choose SCORM 1.2, 2000 would be fine, or 2004 would be fine as well, but 1.2 is good. I'm going to click on reporting and tracking. So from here, it's best to just choose passed, incomplete. You could choose pass fail if you want a 0 to appear in the gradebook. Actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea. That way, if they don't take it or if they don't end up passing it, they'll get a 0 and that will get calculated as a 0. So pass fail here, and this is in the reporting tab. You also want to look at the tracking tab. And here you can see that we track quiz result using the 1.3 result slide. So that's that result slide that we added. It's possible that you may have a project with multiple quizzes in it. And in that case, if you want all those quizzes to be averaged together and to have those results reported, you would need a result slide that tallies and averages those previous result slides. That's kind of complicated. Easy enough to do once you understand, but don't worry about it. Most of the time, ask us certainly if you have any questions about that, but most of the time you're just going to have one result slide and you're going to track the quiz, or track using that quiz result slide. So you can just choose that result slide. Note that you can also choose to track using number of slides viewed. So if there are 3 slides in the project and they watch all 3, they can also get 100% or a check or however you choose to do that. But in this tutorial, we're looking at how to track using that quiz result. So I'm going to click OK. and publish. All right, and so we see it's published is successful. I'm going to click on zip because I need a zip file to upload that to Blackboard. This is going to be called Blackboard Gradebook Example 422. I'm going to click Save, and we see it shows up right here. All right, so I'm done with Storyline, but now I need to open up Blackboard. So here I am in a course, and you can either put it in course material or assignments. I'm going to put it in assignments since this is going to be associated with the gradebook. And I'm going to click on build or hover over build content and scroll down. Let's see, and we have content package SCORM. So click that, and we're going to attach that zip file. Let's see, here we go, and submit. And here, I like to add some instructions here that say, do not use the Blackboard mobile app. So this is important if it's going to the gradebook. The Blackboard mobile app will not allow it to go to the gradebook. But they can still use a tablet or an iPad. They just need to open up a browser and launch Blackboard through that browser. So I also provide those instructions. Instead, open up a browser on your computer or a mobile device and navigate to blackboard.nu.edu and launch the project that way. So from here, you would choose to make SCORM available, and allow unlimited attempts is a good idea, especially if you're using pass-fail for the storyline settings rather than pass-complete. That will allow students to take it as many times as they want, but it's up to you. You could allow them to just, if they don't pass the first time, they don't get credit. That's up to you. And grading, so you have some options here: SCORM, completion, and satisfaction, and then the points possible. So what this is, it can be a bit complicated, and so as a result, we have a table on our website. So if you go to ats.neu.edu and then click on Teaching Technology and then Learning Objects and Storyline, there is a file called Storyline, SCORM, and Blackboard Grading. And if you click on that, you'll see a table. And what this is, it explains the storyline setting and the Blackboard settings and then what the result is. So for example, we use pass-fail in storyline, and Blackboard settings, if we choose SCORM completion, we're going to get a check mark. But what we actually want is, let's see, pass-fail based on results slide, and we want a grade. So let's find that. So all right, so we have pass-fail based on results slide and SCORM score. And so what we see here is that if the assignment is worth 10 points and they pass with an 80% in storyline, they're going to get 8 points in the gradebook. So that's pretty standard. The other options are that you could actually have completion. So if it's based on the results slide, but you choose SCORM completion, you could get a check mark in the gradebook. So that's another option. You can either get 80% or you can get a check mark. So one other option is that if you choose SCORM satisfaction, and again, just to reiterate, these are the options right here. So we're kind of explaining what these different options are. If you choose SCORM satisfaction, you'll see that if they don't finish the quiz or if they don't pass initially, they'll get a little kind of pie chart. And once they pass, though, they'll get full credit. So even if they pass with an 80%, they'll still get the full amount of points. So that's up to you, but the table will kind of help you decide what settings to choose. And you'll just want to look at your result and see, read the result scenarios and figure out which result scenario you want, and then you can kind of figure out whether you use satisfaction, score, or completion. So from here, I'm going to say I want score, and I want this to be worth 10 points in my grade book. So I'm going to click submit. All right, there's one more step that we need to do, which is just, and it's not a huge thing, but you'll notice that when I launch it by default, I have these, it doesn't quite open in a window that's big enough, so I have to scroll down, or I have to open up the window wider. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the dimensions for that. And I'm going to do that by scrolling down, hovering over this entry until I see that arrow. I'm going to go to Edit. And then from there, Advanced Options, Edit SCORM, Player Behavior, Launch Behavior. Now, oddly enough, Blackboard doesn't give us these options the first time around when we're inputting the project, so that's why we have to go back and do it. I usually do 1200 by 900, and that will open up a window that's broad enough to take into account that menu that's on the left side of Storyline. So I'm going to click Submit. Okay, so theoretically you're done. Everything generally works. I do also like to show you what this looks like for students and then what it looks like in the gradebook. So let's go into student view so you can see what it will look like for your students. I'm going to click on assignments. I'm going to scroll down to the Blackboard gradebook example. You see this window opens, and let me make the window a little smaller so that we can fit it in the recording area. All right, so I'm going to get it incorrect first so that you can see what happens. So you see I don't pass, and if I go back to teacher view, let's take a look at that gradebook. And we see in the grade center that I got a 0 because I didn't pass yet. So then let's go back to student view and we can see what happens when the student passes. Note that you might also at some point see a little progress chart or like a blue icon. That means that it's in progress. If you choose pass incomplete as opposed to pass fail in the Storyline settings, remember when we published it in Storyline, you might actually just see that pie chart, the blue pie chart, instead of a 0. It's sort of up to you whether you want to see a 0 or whether you want to see that pie chart. Pie chart can be a little more friendly, but then at the same time, if a student doesn't understand they have a 0, then they might be a little annoyed to find out when they actually do see the result of that 0. So let's pass it. I'm going to click on assignments and Blackboard gradebook example. I'm going to start a new submission. Make it smaller so we can see it. Correct. All right, I passed. Fantastic. So let's go back into teacher view and grade center. And you'll see that I have 10 points there. And you actually, as the instructor, can even hover over this arrow, take a look at the different attempts. So there's one attempt that led to a 0, another attempt that led to 10. I can see what answer I chose for each one, how long it took to complete the assignment. There is one other tool that you should know about if you're incorporating SCORM objects into your course. If you click on evaluation and go to SCORM reports, you'll actually be able to see who completed each project. So for instance, let's find this one that we just inserted. So if I hover over this and run this report, I need to select each of these users, or I can select all, but I need to make sure that they're over here in the selected users column, and then click submit, and it'll show me the results by student. So in the gradebook, it's easy to kind of see what each student does individually, but if you want to see all students and what their grades are, you would use this tool. All right, so there are different grading scenarios that I can imagine based on different pedagogical needs. So if you have any questions about how to accomplish the grading schema that you think would work for you, please let us know and we'll find some settings that work for you.